Hare Krishna, welcome everybody. This is Krishna Dasa. Today we continue our journey through second chapter. Before we begin, I'll say the prayers to Guru and God. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalake Chakshuru Militamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Hare Krishna.
गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः।
Hare Krishna. So today we are going to cover slokas 2.4 to 2.9. We have sent the shlokas and translations in the group, so feel free to follow along while I play the shloka recitation now.
Arjuna uvacha Katham bhishmamaham sankhye dronam cha madhusudana Ishubih pratiyotsyami pujarha parisudana Guruna hatva hi mahanubhavan Shreyo bhoktum bhaikshyamapi haloke Hatvarthakamastu gurunihaiva Bhunjiya bhogan budhira pradigdhan Na chaitadvidmah kataranno gariyo Yadva jayema yadivano jayeyuhu Yaneva hatva na jijivishamaha Teva sthitaha pramukhe dhartarashtraha Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha Pritchami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha Yachreyasya nishchitam bruhi tanme Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyad Yacchogamuccoshanam indriyanam Avapya bhumavasapatna vruddham Rajyam suranam api chadhipatyam Sanjaya uvacha Eva muktva hrishikesham gudakeshah parantapa Nayotsya iti Govinda muktva tushnim babhuvaha.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So let's continue our profound, wonderful journey. So these shlokas are also very powerful. So before this session, I was just giving a quick prayer to Krishna saying, whoever has difficulties in their lives, let them all benefit from the session today, because today's session lays the foundation for how we handle those challenges in our lives and how we overcome them. So if you all remember, our friend Arjuna was in a condition of despair and confusion. So this section starts with Arjuna, who is crying out in despair. So Arjuna says, Katam Bhishmam Aham Sankhye Dronam Cha Madhusudana Ishu Bi Pratiyotsyami Pujarhau Ari Sudana. He says, O Madhusudana, that means Krishna, how can I fight with arrows in battle against Bhishma and Drona? They are worthy of my worship. O destroyer of enemies. Now again, pay attention to how Arjuna is addressing Krishna here. And you can clearly see that Arjuna is heartbroken. And he is addressing Krishna as Arisudana, which means destroyer of enemies. Krishna, you are the one who is very good at destroying enemies. But here, look at my condition. I am not facing enemies. I am facing my teachers and my uncles. So he's saying, like, why does my dharma, why does the call of duty have to be so hard and so difficult? Isn't that a very common moral crisis that a lot of us face? Don't we all face this? We have all faced it at some time in our lives where we are torn between, oh, this is my friend, but at the same time, what they are doing is not right, you know, or this is somebody I, in general, respect, but in this particular situation, they are doing something really wrong. How do I tackle it? You see? So, this is a Krishna is going to address all of this. So, a lot of us are going to benefit from this. But what is happening is this kind of chain of thought is pulling Arjuna's mind further and further into chaos. And as a result of that, now he starts having all these questions. What is the point of war? He's like, even if I have victory, see, just a few days ago, Arjuna was all excited and he was eager for victory. He wanted to win. But suddenly he's asking these questions. What is the point of this war at all? He's like, even if I win, I'm not going to be happy. So what's the point of that victory? He says, if I kill these people, then I will also not have a desire to continue living. And so on and so forth. So as you can see now, Arjuna is having some very, very, deep questions. He's in a dilemma. He's got confusion, mental, emotional turmoil. All of that is going on. And the way Krishna is going to handle all this, the way Krishna is going to coach Arjuna in this set of slokas, that will give us an idea of Krishna's understanding of the human mind, how deeply he understands the human psyche. Now here, Krishna knew that Arjuna was in a very emotional state of mind. And Krishna decides that he has to be pacified and he has to be coached using knowledge. Why? Because Krishna, according to Krishna, knowledge and intelligence, they are the greatest tools that we can use to get rid of ignorance and succeed on the spiritual path as well as material. We can neither succeed spiritually nor materially if we don't have any knowledge or any intelligence. These are very important tools that we all need. I'm going to ask you a very interesting question. Based on your own understanding, based on your own experience, what do you think is the difference between knowledge and intelligence? I'm not looking for textbook answers. This is what I want to know, what you feel, what you have understood. Feel free to maybe chat and I will follow the chats and see if I get any interesting answers there. The question again is, what is the difference between knowledge and intelligence? Okay. I see some answers already. Okay, we see some very good answers. Let's pick one of that. Do we have Purvaji? You want to explain what you mean? Purvaji says, knowledge is the extent of information and intelligence is the smartness with which one uses the knowledge.
Yeah. So knowledge is how much information you like, how much you know. The word knowledge comes from knowing. So it is all about what you know and how much you know. But intelligence is exclusive to you in terms of your smartness or the acumen with which you utilize the whatever you know.
Excellent. Excellent. That's a very nice way to put it. Thank you, Purvaji. Appreciate that. So knowledge and intelligence, they are related. A lot of you already knew this. So I saw in the chats, many of you understood that intellect means how you apply. So let's see how Krishna presents this same explanation. So according to Krishna, knowledge and intelligence, they are related, but they're not the same thing. See, knowledge, you can look at knowledge is like a library full of books. However, which book to use, when, and what is the combination of information from those books that we can use to solve a particular problem. See, that is where intelligence comes into play. So knowledge is just books. Intelligence, you can take the help of the librarian. You can ask the librarian, tell them, I have such and such problem. The librarian will tell you what part of the knowledge you can use, either independently or in combination with something else. The key part to keep in mind is it's only knowledge that can be shared. Intelligence cannot be shared. Intelligence has to be developed. And that is why Krishna is going through all these efforts to help us understand and help us evolve so that our own intellect becomes sharper, so that the knowledge starts making sense to us and we start applying the knowledge in the right way. So, like in the context of Bhagavad Gita, that is why, right in the beginning, we said that it's okay to say that I know all these slokas or I can recite all these slokas fluently. That's okay. But that is still knowledge. It's not going to help us evolve in itself. What is important is how do we utilize those learnings in our day-to-day lives. And that is where this satsang turns out to be such a powerful tool, because satsang is not just for chatting or forwarding stuff. A satsang is for evolving. Satsang is for interactive learning. It's for helping each other, for introspection, to truly understand the teachings and share your ideas on how we can apply those teachings. You see, that is how it actually becomes effective. Why are we talking about all that here? Because look at Arjuna. Arjuna had a lot of knowledge. Arjuna knew the Vedas. Arjuna knew the scriptures. He had a lot of knowledge. But in this critical moment, he was demonstrating a lack of intelligence. He was demonstrating his inability to put his vast knowledge to right use at the right time. That is why Krishna was scolding him in the beginning. Kutasva akashmalamidam. He says, from where have these impurities come? Vishame samupustitam. He says, at this critical time. See? So that is the problem. The problem is, there is knowledge, but application is lacking. Because you can see in the Mahabharata also, they have explained that Arjuna actually understood the principles of dharma. And Arjuna had studied the ethics of warfare. Yet in this crucial battlefield of Kurukshetra, that knowledge was only adding to his confusion. That knowledge was not giving him clarity, it was making his confusion even worse. Because he was trying to relate the wrong concepts at the wrong time, in the wrong way. And he was getting all, confused. It's very, very important. That's why we say Bhagavad Gita is confidential knowledge. Because it doesn't mean that you cannot get the knowledge. Yeah, the knowledge is there. But it is confidential because you need that librarian. You need that guide who can help you understand what part of that knowledge can be applied to what kind of problem, in what way. See, and how you can use that knowledge to actually purify yourselves and evolve. So very, very important concept here. Now let us go through some very extremely important lessons based on what is happening to our friend Arjuna. See his argument. Arjuna is saying, oh, look at Bhishma, look at Dronacharya. They are seniors, they are my teachers. I have been respecting them so much. I don't even dare argue with them. And you are now asking me to battle with them. And then he goes on. And he says things like, I would rather commit suicide. I mean, he doesn't use the word suicide, but he says, I would rather let them kill me. And I'm not going to pick up any arm. I will just sit and let them kill me. That is similar to saying I'm going to commit suicide, right? But see, what is this? Is this looking like somebody, talking out of intelligence? Or does it look like somebody just letting emotions control them? That is what is happening, and that's what the lesson is now that we are going to learn. See, all you have to understand is there is no doubt that people like Bhishma and Drona, they were really great personalities. They are very powerful, very great personalities. However, they had taken the side of Kauravas. They had taken the side of adharma. They had taken the side of something that they themselves did not believe in. They themselves never preached adharma to anybody. But here they were taking the side of adharma. Why? Now, this is a very, very important aspect again. If I ask you, based on your knowledge of Mahabharata, why do you think somebody as great as Bhishma Pitama or as knowledgeable as Dronacharya? Dronacharya was the guru, right? Why did they take the side of Kauravas? Why did they fight on the side of adharma? Maybe you can chat. I'm asking you to chat so that we can keep a tab on time as well. And then in the end, we will have more open discussions. So if you have any ideas, we can chat. Otherwise, I can just go ahead and explain myself. Yes, some of the previous students, they are giving me the correct answer. Huh? Yes, so you remember what we studied earlier. Okay. So one student says, I'm clueless. Why they did that? Good. I like that answer because that makes this session more purposeful for me. Okay. See, the fundamental problem, as some of the previous students have already said in the chat, the fundamental problem is these great personalities, they had accepted support, they had accepted money, they had accepted comfort, they had accepted favors from Kauravas. And because of that, they got bound by obligations to the wicked Duryodhana. Like, for example, Dronacharya was very poor. He was in extreme poverty, and at that time, he got material support from the Kauravas. So now he felt obliged to the Kauravas. Does anybody remember the story of Shalya? Shalya was another great personality. He was the mama of Nakul and Sahadev. So he was the brother of Madri. So when he was about to, or when he was arriving at the battlefield, he gets tricked. He gets tricked by Duryodhana. So he's invited for a feast and a lot of comforts and all of that. And when he has finished eating everything, when he has finished enjoying all the comforts, he comes to know that they were all provided by Duryodhana. Now he's in a dilemma. He's like, now I have accepted the favor from Duryodhana, now I cannot fight against him, you see. So that is how powerful this whole aspect of getting into obligations is. So a lot of scholars, when they have spoken about Bhagavad Gita, they have all said that if Bhishma and Dronacharya had refused to fight on the side of Duryodhana, the Mahabharata war would have ended within a day. So we were asking previously, who is responsible? Who is accountable? And a lot of people thought Krishna is responsible. Krishna is accountable. But if you see, there are so many people who had the power to stop the war and nobody did their job. Nobody did their duty. Right? And that is the lesson for all of us. So in the Bhishma Parva of the Mahabharata, it is said that man is the servant of wealth. Wealth is not the servant of anybody. We would like to think wealth is serving you, but unfortunately, it is men and women who become servants of wealth. So let us see what are the two powerful lessons we can learn from these initial set of slokas. First one, the state of mind. I think all of us, we have all faced this emotional trauma of some sort. Saying anything important or making any big decisions when we are feeling very emotional or when we are feeling hurt is a very bad idea. In corporate sector, we call it the angry email syndrome. See, if you are feeling calm and quiet and comfortable and somebody asks you a question, you will think about it. Okay? You'll think about the right answer. Sometimes you will delay answering. Sometimes you will not answer also. But if you are angry, if you are emotional and somebody asks a question, boom, the answer has to come right away. Isn't it? If you are angry and somebody is asking you a question, don't you feel like your answer suddenly becomes instantaneous? But it has to be the opposite. When you are angry, when you are hurt, when you are emotional, that is when you are supposed to not answer. That is when you are supposed to hold back. So I spoke about this angry email syndrome. Many times it happens, especially in corporate sector. Somebody sends a mail and somebody takes offense and immediately it's a harsh response and then there is an email chain and many times it ends up becoming a HR case. But what is it that we need to learn from this is awareness. In the previous session we spoke about inner saboteur and we said what we have to do, just be aware and catch. Similarly, if you get a mail, or if somebody is asking a question, or if you are supposed to say something or respond, be aware of your own mental emotional condition. If you know that you are not calm, you are not quiet, pause. Take a pause. Don't respond, don't say anything, don't do anything at that instance, because it will almost always be harmful to you and to the other person. So, this is a small exercise that we have trained ourselves in, at least in the corporate sector, that when we write a response to an email or when we write a new email, especially when we catch ourselves not being completely calm, we keep it in draft. And then after a few hours or the next day, we come back and we look at the same mail. And many times we are ourselves surprised. What was I writing? What was I thinking? My God, I'm so glad that I did not hit send on that mail. So that is something that I would like all of us to write down and practice. That in general, any questions, any decisions, if you think you are not in the right state of mind, just pause, write it down somewhere, sleep over it, and then come take a look when you are feeling better. And that is the right way to deal with it. Because what is happening here, Arjuna is making decisions. Arjuna is deciding to suicide in a state of emotional turmoil, in a state of extreme anxiety. If Krishna was not there, Arjuna would be dead. See, that is the first powerful lesson for us. The second very powerful lesson from this set of slokas is that we have to be extremely careful who we are taking help from. Many times it is very tempting. If we are in need, we want to take help from the very first person who offers help. It's very tempting, but we should not. It's not about being very proud or ungrateful. It is about understanding that when somebody gives us any kind of help, particularly material help or help with something important like your career or your job, it will end up in some kind of unwritten contract. You will land up feeling obliged to such a person, and then it will become very difficult to deal with this person in a righteous way always. Now, see, this is the fundamental problem with corruption. Why is corruption looked down upon? Is this is the problem. A person in a position of authority has accepted help from somebody who later on does something unlawful, but this person, instead of stopping them, just remains a witness. Why? Because they feel obliged now. And you already can see how it has destroyed our society already. You see, so very, very important lesson, that be very careful with from whom you are accepting any kind of help or support. Any questions here? I thought somebody had raised a hand. Okay. Shalmali ji, you had a question?
Yes, Guruji. So when you are saying that Duryodhana, because all the Gurujis, like not Guruji, like everybody was on the Duryodhana side, but Pandavas also took some help now from Duryodhana, like not Duryodhana, but his father. Like they were, I know it's not their Rashtra, because his father's is coming from their father, but still they were, because Duryodhana's father was taking care of everything. So it was like they were taking help now. So I'm not getting that concept, Guruji. Like how come like Pandavas are not uh, they don't then why they are staying against? I know whatever happened in that Mahabharata, but still I'm not getting that, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, so we are talking about accepting favors. We are not saying, for example, if you are a mother, your son gets help from you, that's your duty to help that person. That doesn't become a favor now. Okay. Whereas Dronacharya was, going through poverty and then the Kauravas help him, that is a favor. Okay. So what we are saying is be careful from whom you are accepting favors. When we say help, we are talking about from a favor perspective. Because the moment you do that, you get bound in obligations. See, I hope that makes it clear. Soumyaji, you had a question?
Guruji, maybe I'm just taking it too far ahead. However, like if I think about a parent being duty bound to like raise their kids and give them all the support that they require at that period of time, let's just say for initial 17, 18 years. Does this also mean that because it was our duty, we should not expect a favor back from the kids?
Yeah, that's a
Like,
good question. Is there any other follow-up to that question, Soumyaji? Or
no, that's it. I think that it can go very wide, but then I think I would try to limit it to this point at this time.
yeah, it's a valid question. You know, first of all, the person giving help has to focus on what is their duty. Like if you are a father, it's your duty to help your kids. So definitely don't expect anything in return, because what you are doing is just your duty. And Krishna will talk about it in depth in the third and fourth chapters. Okay, about Swadharma and about karma, nishkama karma. We will read all of that. And vice versa, is if you are receiving help, feel free to ask for help from people who you think will not make you obliged. Because sometimes what happens, we don't ask for help from people like our own parents, many times out of pride. We would rather take help from a friend, but not from our father. Does it not happen? And because sometimes pride comes in the way. And there are many such factors. But a short answer to your question basically is, first, you should know what is your duty. When you are giving and when you are receiving, you should be very careful whether you are receiving it as a favor or whether you are receiving it as a transaction that you have clear contracts on how that's going to be repaid. Otherwise, it's going to result in a lot of this kind of pain for a lot of us. These two are important, but there is one more very, very important aspect, which is very powerful, and a lot of us don't even realize it. We make this mistake without even understanding. See, that is the effect of food. The effect of food and its influence on the mind. Right now, we are not talking about the dietary aspect of food. We are talking about food from an energy perspective here. Let us see why. So Bhishma was a very great warrior. He was one of the senior most warriors, and he was shot with arrows by Arjuna. And towards the end of the Mahabharat, towards the end of that war, Bhishma is lying in his deathbed, a bed of arrows. At that time, Krishna takes Pandavas to Bhishma. Krishna says, there is a lot that you can learn from Bhishma Pitama. So Krishna takes the Pandavas to Bhishma while Bhishma was on the deathbed. Just an interesting tidbit, that is when Bhishma Pitama recited the Vishnu Sahasranama, which is so popular and everybody likes to play it in their houses. The Vishnu Sahasranama was recited by Bhishma at that instance when he was in his deathbed, the 1,000 names of Vishnu. And that is where Bhishma imparts a lot of wisdom to Yudhishthira about Rajaniti, political science. And he talks about what is dharma, what is adharma. He gives a lot of his lectures to the Pandavas and specifically to Yudhishthira. Now, Draupadi was also there. Draupadi was witnessing all of that. And at one point, she couldn't control. She starts laughing. She starts giggling and laughing in a kind of a, insulting way. And so Bhishma is a little, perplexed. Bhishma says, Beta, why are you laughing? Because the topic is serious. They are talking about dharma, adharma. And why is Draupadi now laughing? Draupadi says, you have so much knowledge. You are now preaching about dharma, adharma, all of that. Now you are going to die and you are so clear about what is dharma and adharma, but when you are alive, looks like you didn't have this knowledge. How come you sided with adharma when you were alive? How come you never stopped adharma when I was in trouble? She says, that sounds very funny to me, because a person with so much knowledge of dharma, how can such a person not have sided with dharma when they were alive? And that's what is making me laugh. Now see what Bhishma's reply is. It is a very powerful, truth. Bhishma says, "Dear daughter Draupadi, all these days I have been eating food offered by Duryodhana, and the negative energy in that food was impacting me. The negative energy in the food offered by Duryodhana to me had gotten into my blood. It had impacted my intellect. My intellect became clouded because of that. And after Arjuna pierced me with all these arrows, that bad blood has all gone out. And now I have regained my intellect. Now I have regained my senses." See how powerful that lesson is for all of us. The food we eat, who we accept food from. That is why in olden days there were a lot of rules. Lot of rules on what are the duties of a host, what are the duties of a guest, for every particular type of profession, who you can accept food from, what kind of food you can accept. For example, when we say sannyasis and sannyasis go and get bhiksha, there were rules for that also, like how to take bhiksha, from whom to get bhiksha. So no, you see, because the food, it is very powerful. Later on we will study this more in detail. Even in the Upanishads it is written that what we eat eventually becomes our mind. That is why in the West they say you are what you eat. So be very, very careful of that as well. Later on in the Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna will make a very powerful statement. Krishna will say that the food that you eat will shape your destiny. Very powerful. He doesn't say the food you eat will, determine your health or determine this or determine. He says it will shape your destiny. So let's all keep that in mind. Now let us also again come back to this concept of what I call as analysis paralysis, because if you see, based on the situation so far, Arjuna got into a very confused, bewildered state of mind. We all now know at this point, we are all very clear on how confused and how bewildered Arjuna was. But what was the outcome of that? In verse 2.5, if you see, Arjuna says, "It will be better to live just by begging than to enjoy, the outcome of this war where I am supposed to kill these elders." So in effect, what he is saying, I'm in a mode of paralysis now. I don't want to act. I don't think I can do any action. I just want to give up. I just want to it's okay if I have to beg, so on and so forth. Where victory, defeat, nothing seems to make sense to him. And then Arjuna confesses at that point in 2.5. Arjuna says, "I no longer seem to know what is right. I no longer seem to know what is better. Is it better to win or is it better to lose in this situation?" Here is where the most profound part of the Bhagavad Gita comes. Because here, in these depths of despair, here, in these depths of anxiety, confusion, something remarkable happens. The warrior Arjuna's pride shatters. Because he's accepting, he's saying, "I no longer seem to know what is right. I no longer seem to know what I'm supposed to do." That is an indication of a pride that has been shattered. A proud person will never say, "I don't know." No, they can't. So what happens when pride goes away? That is when the student is born. So this is the part of Bhagavad Gita where Arjuna, the perfect student, is born. Up until this point, Arjuna was using his own knowledge and he was just arguing with Krishna and he was treating Krishna as a companion, as a friend. But the true transformation will happen only when we are willing to step out of that familiar space and approach the teacher with humility. Doesn't matter what we are learning. You can be a medical student, or you can be an apprentice who's working with a surgeon, or you can be like a junior advocate working with a senior to learn something. Doesn't matter what you are learning. What is important, more important than who is teaching you, is how we are approaching the lesson. We will see in our scriptures there are a lot of examples where people who have been in the right state of mind, they could learn even from birds, they could learn from animals. So very, very another powerful lesson, that When Arjuna let go of his pride, he became the right kind of a student. There is a very interesting saying. This I took from the scriptures. It's very interesting saying that says that if someone does not know that they do not know, ignore them. Because that is like depths of ignorance. Someone does not even know that they don't know. So ignore them. If someone knows that they don't know, teach them. And if someone knows that they know, learn from them. See? So it's a very, very powerful thing. Okay. So as we said, now is when the student is born, Arjuna's turning point, and I would say pretty much the turning point of Bhagavad Gita itself. Because here is where a very powerful sloka comes. Now Arjuna is looking at Krishna and he's saying, Karpanya dosha upahat swabhavah pruchami tvam dharma sammuda chetaha yat shreyah syat nishchitam brumi tat me sishyate aham shadi mam tvam prapannam. He says, my mind is confused about my duty and I am consumed by anxiety and doubt. I am your student now and I have fully surrendered to you. Please enlighten me on the most appropriate path for me to take. Lot of acharyas, lot of scholars will tell you that this is the turning point, the most important turning point in the life of Arjuna and in Bhagavad Gita per se. So for this one sloka, I would like to dive deep into the terms used here. Karpanya means miserliness, weakness, self-pity, all of that. So the term used is, this is 2.5. You can see I have sent you the sloka also. So the term used is Karpanya dosha upahata swabhavah. My nature has been overpowered by the defect of weakness. So Arjuna is accepting that. And then he says, Prichami tvam, I ask you, Dharma sammuda chetaha. My mind is confused regarding dharma. Yat shreyaha syat. What may be truly good? Nishchitam bruhi. Tell me decisively. And then the most important part comes. He says, Sishyate aham. I am your student or I am your disciple. Shadimam, instruct me. Tvam prapannam. I have surrendered to you. So with these words, Arjuna completely lets go of his ego. He lets go of his pride. And he is confessing that I have been overcome by weakness. I am at fault. I have become faint-hearted. Karpanya dosha. And that weakness has taken over my mind. See, a lot of great people have said, acknowledging and accepting the problem is half the battle won. If you don't even acknowledge there is a problem, there is no way you are going to overcome the problem. So here Arjuna has crossed that bridge. And then Arjuna is publicly declaring that I am lost when it comes to knowing what is right and wrong. Please guide me. And then he makes a very sacred commitment. And this is the commitment we all should make today. At this point in our journey, I am requesting all of us here to make that commitment. What is that commitment? Sishyateham. That we are students, we are disciples, we are all here to learn. Now, that is a commitment. When I reach out to a teacher and say that I am here to learn, I am making a commitment. So just like Arjuna is making a commitment. And then he says, Shadimam tvam prapannam. Teach me, I who have surrendered to you. The word prapannam is very, very crucial because that prapannam is surrendered. Because Arjuna, he's not just asking for casual advice. He's not telling Krishna, can you give me some tips? That is not what's going on here. Because what happens when we ask for tips, it is optional. Like I can give you 1,000,000 tips, but it is entirely up to you whether you listen to them, what you do with them. But here, that is not what Arjuna is asking. Here he's saying, I surrender. I'm placing myself at your feet, Krishna. And he's making a commitment. He's saying, I will accept and follow the guidance that you are giving me. That is the most important part. So we all have to make that commitment today, that we have the same mindset of surrender, and we should tell Krishna that we make a commitment that we will accept your teachings and we will follow your teachings. You make the commitment and the transformation will begin already. The evolution will already begin. If you just sit like an observer and if you think it is yet another YouTube video, or if it is just another story, then the impact will not be there. That is the key message here. And that is why a lot of acharyas have said that it is a key turning point in Arjuna's life. So this is the kind of surrender where we are willing to let go of who we think we are, so that we can discover who we truly are. See how powerful it is. And only when a student surrenders like this, the teaching will begin. Because in Vedanta, unsought advice is prohibited. Unless we seek something, what is given to us will have no value. So we should keep this in mind, both while receiving also, while giving also. If you just give people something which they are not seeking, it is guaranteed they are never going to value what you give. So make sure that there is that hunger, there is that seeking before you try to pass on this kind of crucial wisdom to people. At this point, what happens? Now Sanjaya is telling what is going on. Sanjaya is saying that Arjuna has surrendered. Arjuna has said that he is the student and he is asking Krishna for guidance, and then Arjuna fell silent. This is what Sanjaya is saying. Sanjaya is saying after this, Arjuna becomes silent. It's very deeply meaningful, because this is not the silence of defeat, but this is the silence of a mind which wants to become quiet. It is the silence of a mind which wants to be calm now and receptive. Because this is the silence that is going to let wisdom enter. If there is too much chatter, too much noise, then wisdom will never enter. So this portion of Bhagavad Gita, it is a kind of a reminder that information or knowledge alone cannot save us. And emotions are very dangerous, because they can paralyze even the wisest among us. And the most courageous act is to admit that we are lost and we need guidance, and turn towards the higher wisdom. Saying I don't know is not weakness. Saying I don't know is a very courageous act. And you have to turn towards a higher wisdom. And we keep talking about surrender and all of that. I just want to let you know that the Guru has been given a lot of importance in Vedic literature. Not because of who the Guru is, but because of the mindset that is required for wisdom to enter. The state of mind that is required for grace to enter. It is for us, it is not for the Guru. So when they say that, bow down to a Guru, it is not to pump up the ego of the Guru. When they say bow down to a Guru, it is so that you can make your mind ready for something profound to get in. Okay, very, very important. So Sant Kabir, a very great saint, he has written this: Guru Govinda do kade kake lagu paye, balihari Guru aapne Govind diyo bataye. My Guru and my God are both standing in front of me. Who should I pay my respects first? Somebody is asking this to Kabir. That Guru and God, they are both standing in front of me. Who should I pay my respect to first? And then Kabir is responding. Kabir is saying, first bow down to your Guru. Because he's the one who showed you how to reach God. He's the one who showed you how to identify God. If the Guru had not shown you, you would not even know that God is standing next to him. So he says, first bow down to the Guru. So here in this context, we should look at Sri Krishna as the Supreme Guru. He is Jagat Guru now. So at this instance, from now onwards, if we want to evolve, if we want to make this knowledge really work for us, we shouldn't look at Krishna just as a handsome guy, just as a, friend. It's all okay. But from this point onwards, the bhav should be that Krishna is Jagat Guru. And his teachings are to be accepted and followed. So we are all Arjunas, we are all fighting our battles, we all have to face our problems, we all have to overcome them. We all have challenges. The Bhagavad Gita is teaching us how to manage our own selves, how to evolve, how to become stronger, how to overcome all the hurdles, how to live our lives the right way and also how to help others in their journeys. Which part of it looks like war to you? Because people with half knowledge, they keep saying Bhagavad Gita is a book on war. I'm like, where is war? Because after the first part, the word war doesn't come anywhere in Bhagavad Gita at all. It is all about self-development. It is all about evolution, self-management, purification, love, compassion, spiritual evolution. That is all what is there. So that is why my best wishes with all of you, that if you are all in the right mindset, follow the teachings, please maintain a journal. And I can guarantee, it's not my guarantee, Krishna has guaranteed, I'm just passing it on, I'm just a medium, that it will definitely transform all of you. I'm included in that. I'm also experiencing the transformation. So Arjuna, the student is ready, and Sri Krishna, the teacher, is also now ready. you know. So in this part of the Bhagavad Gita, Swami Vivekananda has also given a commentary, and he has quoted from the Katha Upanishad, where it says that Uttishta Jagrata Prapya Varan Nibodata, which means arise, awake, and stop not until the goal is reached. So this is very important here, because now is when the actual lessons are going to start. So each of us have to make that commitment that we are going to arise, we are going to awake, and we are not going to stop until our goal is reached. We are not going to give up. So at this point, Sloka 2.9, Arjuna has completely surrendered. He says, I don't have clarity. Govinda, I shall not fight. So it's a delicate situation. Now let us see how Krishna is going to handle this situation in the upcoming verses. So that is what is for today. Now, what I have is a short exercise. I would say it is more like a guided meditation. Okay. If you think you have a perfect life, if you think you have absolutely no challenges in your life, you can feel free to drop. But everybody else can stay and they can try to follow this guided meditation. This is the meditation that we will practice to get guidance from that divine to help us with whatever major challenge we are facing in our life. Okay, are we all ready? This is a guided meditation, so just follow what I'm saying. So for the first 2 minutes, please close your eyes and be aware of what's going on in your mind, and be aware of what is that one big problem or what is that one big confusion that seems to keep coming in your mind now. Because any major challenge, if you really have a major challenge, your mind is going to echo that the moment you try to become calm. So be aware of that. It can be an academic challenge, it can be a personal challenge, financial challenge, doesn't matter. Just pay attention, be aware. See what that challenge looks like. There may be clutter, maybe 2 or 3 challenges come to mind, but pay attention. Ask yourself, which of these is really the biggest problem I'm facing? Which of these is the biggest challenge in front of me? Once you have got some idea of what is that one challenge that seems to be bothering you, tell yourself, acknowledge. Just acknowledge. Say, I am confused. I don't seem to know the right path. I don't seem to know how to solve it the most effective way. Now we are seeking guidance now. In your mind, just repeat, Sishyaste ham shadimam tvam prapannam. Sishyaste ham shadimam tvam prapannam. Oh Krishna, I am your student. I surrender to you. Teach me. Guide me. I have taken refuge in you. Show me the path. Pay attention to what feeling. Once you said, I surrender. Once you said, guide me. Once you are letting go of this illusion of control, let go. Let go the illusion of control. Tell Krishna, I don't know how to solve this, but I've surrendered to you now. Tell me, guide me. So now be aware again. Once you surrendered, how do you feel? What is that feeling that is coming? Pay attention to that. Do you feel relief? Do you feel some kind of openness? Or do you feel any kind of fear? If you are feeling fear, it just means that we need to work more on our faith. If you are feeling relief, it means the faith is already coming. Now you have surrendered. Now you have asked for guidance. Now imagine placing that big challenge in the hands of Krishna. Imagine that you have given your problems to Him. Tell Krishna, I'm surrendering my need to control. Try to quieten your mind. Be aware and see if you can actually feel a calmness coming over you. This is very important. And if you can feel the calmness, you are on the right path. Because now, in that calmness, pay attention. See if there is any kind of inner guidance that just seems to come up. Whatever it is, be receptive. Don't intellectualize. Don't argue with yourself. Pay attention to your mind. See if some kind of guidance is coming. See if some kind of answers or some kind of hints are coming. Just pay attention, that's all. Be open, be receptive. Now just fold your hands and thank Krishna. Say, Krishna, from now onwards, I am surrendered. From now onwards, I am your student. From now onwards, I continuously seek your guidance. Please guide me. Please continue to guide me. Hare Krishna. Yeah, now you can open your eyes. So given the time limitations, I have kind of rushed through this, but this is a very, very powerful exercise that you can do yourself later on. And did anybody feel calmness? Excellent. So I see a lot of people saying they feel calm. Okay. I won't guarantee that everybody found a guidance. If you found anything, that is excellent. But if not, don't lose heart. You have to repeat this. Make it a habit. And whenever you feel like you got any kind of guidance or any kind of tips, in that state of mind, okay, many times what happens, we think we are getting some guidance, but we are not in the right state of mind. So we don't really know if it is the right guidance. Everything is energy. When we open ourselves up, negative will also come in, positive will also come in. And how do we know which is what? By making sure we are in the right state of mind. And the first part of the meditation was preparing ourselves. So once we prepare ourselves, once we are in the right state of mind, and then if you repeat this exercise yourself, do this daily. For any kind of challenge we have, do this daily. And you will get some guidance. And when you get some guidance, write it down. Write it down in your journal and revisit it. Okay? Reflect upon it. And I can assure you that this kind of exercise is very powerful because it conditions your subconscious mind. And sometimes you may not even realize that the guidance is already coming. You will not even realize, but you will end up doing the right things. You will end up saying the right things. And you will end up actually solving your problems or getting closer to solutions. So I hope this helps all of you. So with that, I think I can stop talking for the day. Hare Krishna, and I will open the floors if people had any other questions or comments. Did anybody have any questions or comments before we wrap up this session? Momita ji.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. My question was, when I was doing this exercise, I sort of realized a knot saying that, is it like, am I being lazy to leave it to God, or I have exhausted all my thought process and procedure to solve this problem? Like
Excellent question.
it's easy to say कि भगवान सबका भला करेगा, मेरा भी करेगा. But like, have I done my due diligence to it?
This is an excellent question, and it is a precursor to what Krishna will explain later. So, this particular topic is explained in depth by Krishna, but if I have to shorten it and give you a short answer, we always have to do rightful action. See, it is like praying to Krishna and saying, please make sure I pass in my exam.
Yeah.
But he's not going to write the exam for you. Okay, so it is not laziness in the sense that I'm sitting in my couch and watching a movie and somehow my exams Krishna is making me pass. It's never going to work like that. What we are letting go is the illusion of control. Your job is to study, your job is to write the exam. But whether that results in good marks, who checks your paper, that's not in your control. You are letting that in Krishna's hand. Just like that, if it is a personal problem, let us say relationship problem, are you being loyal? Are you being honest? Are you being kind? That is in your hands. But how does the other person respond? It's not in your hands. That you are leaving to Krishna. So what we are saying, Krishna, you take care, is the outcome. But the efforts we have to put in. And this is what is all the entire topic of Karma Yoga is that. So that will come in the next chapter. And we will go in depth into that so that there will be absolutely no doubts here. Okay, so but that's a beautiful question because that is setting the stage for what we are going to learn now in the next chapter. Okay, I hope that makes sense, Mamita ji.
Yes, Guruji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So I think we have one more question and then we can wrap it up. Okay, this is Smita. Smita ji, okay, you are here. Yes, Smita ji.
Yeah, first of all, I wanted to say I have finished one session, but I think I would be more focused. I'm promising myself that I will be more focused than my last time stint with the Bhagavad Gita. And this time, what is happening is something very different. The last session, also the interactive feeling. Again, this time, the small, whatever you said, small, but guided meditation. Which is very, very nice, which is taking us to not only just the Bhagavad Gita, but its day-to-day impact, which is what is the main aim, I suppose, when we say pragmatic. So thank you very much for this wonderful new approach. I mean, we are definitely gaining much more. So with this new approach, I have one question regarding this session. We were talking about Bhishma Pitamaha saying that, well, I was eating their food, so it is running through my body. And now that it is gone out of my body. So when we really think about the real life and we see that how we kiska anna khaya is like, from where did I earn the money to buy the food? So again, are we talking about the wrong type of employers or wrong type of companies that we can associate with oneself? In the sense, not only when you do the job, but also when you invest in the stocks or market. Let's say, for example, a cigarette company. So again, are we coming back to the conscious? I'm sorry if it is jumbled up question, but this is the question.
No, thank you very much. First of all, thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate that. And if I can be honest with all of you, this is the guidance that came to me as well, where I was asking Krishna, like, what better should I do in the sessions? Because, and this is the guidance that came and this is what I promised before I started. The reason I started this third batch, because we have already done two, the reason I started was we have to now get into what we call as nididhyasan. We have to get into the mode of internalization and applying it to our daily lives. So I've made this commitment to Krishna, and I'm making the commitment to you that I'm going to stay committed, and my request is you stay committed, and we will all overcome the journey. So Smitaji, the second part of your question is loaded, and all I would like to say right now, in the interest of time, is it is all about aligning with dharma. For example, somebody asked me this question earlier. I think in the previous session, I think somebody said, killing an animal is sin, but if I don't kill an animal, if I just buy meat from the shop, is it still sin? So I mean, there is no cheating, because if you look at it economically, if nobody buys meat, then the meat seller will not be killing an animal. So you definitely are playing a role in that bad karma. So you are going to be impacted by some negative karma somewhere. Just like that. Later on, Krishna will say that even charity can be tamasic. Charity can be rajasic. Charity can also be sattvic. So we think charity means good. No, Krishna will clarify that later. So like you alluded to that point, like if I'm investing in a cigarette company, but then people are being impacted because of those cigarettes, so definitely it is going to impact you too. So that is where viveka, discrimination, is so important. See, it's not simple. The answer is not simple. That is why Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. That is why there are 700 shlokas. So it's a process. If you stay with us and if we go through all the teachings in a methodical way, eventually all the answers will be clear. I hope that much satisfies you for today, Smita ji, and I'm looking forward to seeing you with us till the end of the journey. So thank you, everyone. I want to be respectful of your time and see you all in the next session. And I will be sending some questions offline in the satsang group, and it will really benefit you if you spend some time to find the answers and write it down. And later on, if you are interested, I'm even happy to publish some of the answers in my website also. Okay. So Hare Krishna. Thank you, everybody, and see you all in the next session.